I isolate myself. I don't look at messages on Instagram. I don't send messages on Instagram. I don't go out. You would not like my life. No, it'd be boring. I live alone, and sometimes I'm like, hello, hello. Make sure my voice still works.
I can be a product of my environment, you know what I mean? If I'm in with the wrong crowd, I just kind of become whatever, you know what I mean? So that's why I like to be isolated, and that's why this has helped me coming out here and being locked in an apartment on my own, building back up my leg, going from rehab to home to rehab to home, because there was no outsiders. It was isolation, it was visualization, it was motivation, and it was dedication. There was nothing else going on in my life, you know what I mean?
All those people, you know, aforementioned, there's something that is so true about that. I don't know how to explain it, but from my experience, I've struggled with that. I'm one of those people that is just like always thinking all the time, overthinking. My mind is always running. So what do? I go and I try to distract myself. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, which is why doom scrolling is like the new cigarette break. People, you know, just constantly distracting themselves, constantly consuming content. Attention is probably the most valuable asset right now that's constantly being traded. As you speak right now, you're on YouTube watching videos. I'm probably not the first, right? You've probably watched 100 videos, you know, in the past 2 days, you know, and that's on the conservative side. People scroll TikTok for 2, 3, 4 hours, and you're getting your emotions pulled in so many different ways. Your mind kind of becomes numb to the outside world. And when you hear so many voices all the time from different people, it's hard to like feel your own. Like, this is a real experience I've had. I was just walking to the store. I had no music. I didn't have my phone on me. I like to walk to the store because, you know, it starts my day right, and I enjoy, you know, getting morning sunlight, and it's very peaceful, right? But I'm thinking, like, I'm in thought, and I'm being interrupted by sounds, like TikTok sounds, YouTube, like music I've heard in the past from the radio. And it's just different songs while I'm thinking. And then it's just random things in my mind while I'm actually kind of having productive thought. And people are afraid of themselves. People can't sit with themselves anymore. But whatever you want to achieve, you can't AI shortcut it. You can't let AI think for you. You can't let some motivational thing for you. You know what you need to do. You know, at this point, brother, it comes down to cutting everything out. That includes distractions, includes bad friends, people that don't understand the vision. Stop scrolling, like, and watching all kinds of content all the time. You know, I think that thought-provoking content is one thing. You know, at the end of your day, when you've achieved things, I think it's good to contemplate and get new perspectives from different people. But starting your day off with consumption after you haven't created, you're creating an identity for yourself. When you choose to consume, but you want to be a creator, you want to run a business, you want to be an athlete, you want to do big things in the world, you want to be a good father, you want to be a man of Christ. If you are pulled in 40 different directions, your emotions are being nailed, your temptations being thrown at you, you know, being constantly exposed to what the world wants you to pay attention to, your dopamine is going to be so low. You're going to be low motivation. You're emotionally going to be numb. You've been thrown in so many different directions. Life can't compete with that. Day-to-day life is not that stimulated. So it starts small, you know, and I think for some people, it can kind of start more radically. For me, I was so, you know, kind of far into the dopamine hole. I was like, I can't even stand it anymore. And, you know, I started walking first thing in the morning, skipping some rope, just enjoying the nature around me, you know, reading books, and allowing myself to use my computer just for different things, like editing videos or playing chess, like things that, you know, I'm on the computer, so it kind of relaxes part of my brain. That's like, you know, crazy rapid change, but at the same time, I'm not killing my brain, you know, and my motivation in the process. So I think it really just depends on where you are. Radical change can happen in certain instances, but I think that gradual change is the better approach for people. In my experience, I've tried radical change so many times, and it's hard to stick to it. There's only some things that you can just completely cut off, and you have to know that about yourself. And there's more to that too, on the distraction side. You know, sometimes a lot of people get pulled in. You know, they're on Instagram and they see something that's kind of, you know, there's some cleavage or something that kind of gets your gears turning in a certain type of way. You pull it up, you go to the hub, man, and you lose motivation from that. You know, your brain thinks you've achieved the ultimate goal in humanity. And I know this is super cliche. Every single self-improvement thing is all about this, but it's more than that, man. It's you're sacrificing your energy to bad sources, and when you free yourself from that, again, it's a dopamine. You know, that's one of the most dopaminergic activities that you can do. But there's honestly a point where, as you, like, I'm super young, so it's weird for me to say that, but since I've been exposed for such a young age, it's like a point where your brain matures a little bit. You're kind of like, man, this is just disgusting. Especially the closer you get to God. I'm still far away on that journey, but as you start inching closer, you're like, man, I don't even want that. Like, that's just disgusting. So my main points of this video that I want you to take away is distraction. It kills your identity. I have no idea who you are. You start to act like your For You page, and your algorithms decide your mood and who you are and who you act like. People are all playing an actor in their own movie, and that's because of the consumption of content. So cut that out. Another thing, kills your motivation, kills your dopamine, which it's harder for you to strive for your goals. Another thing is it strains relationships. When you're emotionally unavailable, you know, it's going to put you in a position where the good relationships that you have are going to be strained because you just don't have the energy to build those, because relationships take effort. And another thing is that the peace of mind that you get when you're away from that is just incredible. Like, you just feel so much better just with yourself. And I think that is the biggest benefit. Learning comes quicker, and it's just going to help you advance in life. Those dopamine drains, it gets you nowhere, man. So I hope you could take something away from this video. There's going to be multiple different schools of thought on here. I'm currently reading Atomic Habits, which is part of what inspired some of these talking points. I will be reviewing that book soon, so let me know if you guys would enjoy that. Thank you for your time.